a taste of life on another planet.
I feel like Clark Gable. God, the wind. This is Hastings Old Town. I have a particular liking for this one. Speedy Fizzle.
Not there today, Captain.
Oh, it sounds like a really rambunctious type of firework.
Yeah.
But what about Uncle Jim?
Uncle Jim's got the day off.
Oh, I knew an uncle. He was more of a scary uncle. And his name wasn't Jim. So Uncle Jim or Speedy Fizzle, a close runner as well as the Cornish Pixie.
Oh.
But I don't know, I think there's only one train running.
Let me ask, what train's running today, sir?
This one, and I'm just about to get another one out.
Okay, and what's the name of the engine going on this next one?
Should we call it this one?
On this one?
I like the fact that this one's called this one, and there may be another one coming along. This is like a train version of When Romeo Met Juliet, and there she is. Hark, hark.
I've only been here a couple of months, so
Oh.
I'm not familiar with all the names.
Okay.
You've not been waiting for a train that long though, have you?
We've got an Intercity Express.
An Intercity Express.
An Intercity Express.
Oh, this is so modern.
It is, what?
Jerry Lee.
Oh, this is Jerry Lee.
Oh, Jerry. Oh, well, that's
Jerry
right
Lee.
up our street, isn't it?
Oh,
Jerry
goodness
Lee.
me.
So
on,
Captain, is this the best you could do for a holiday, late September,
Late
on
September.
a windy, rainy day in Hastings?
Well, fiercely independent artists must travel on a certain route, and this appears to be the one. I've often fallen off tracks and taken strange forays into undiscovered countries, cities, towns, and villages far from main routes.
Okay. Look, a man with tea, Captain. Is that for
The
us?
tea, here he is, the man that said this train is the one.
I'm going to get the other train out with Toby on the front.
Now, don't tempt us. This is not fair, is it, Captain?
No, this is what always happens in life. Once you've made a decision, another better decision comes along, but then you've lost all choice.
You have.
So you have to stick with the choice you've made. A bit like a Grand National winner. You knew you had an inkling
We've
for the
lost
winner,
him, Captain.
but then you take the bet previously and realise that you actually chose the winner all along. Decided with your head instead of your heart, and now I wish to have Toby instead of this one.
It's all right, you may leave.
This one?
I would run.
They've
if
got
I-
nicknames on the potting shed.
Oh, the potting
When you
shed.
see it come out, you'll understand.
At the
Oh.
stage I played once at Belladrum. Rob Ellen's potting shed. There's always usually a potting shed near where I am because there's often a lot of fertiliser in the air. Oh, here we go. We're starting very slowly. I can feel the wind in the exposed parts of my ears. Other parts of my ears are currently undercover. Top hat, left and right. Listen to that sound. The bowl of the traction of the engine. Oh, and here we have the Speedy Fizzle. Train I wish to take initially. Oh, it's lovely to see people looking so happy, even when it's overcast. That's what it means to be by the sea. As Spike Milligan said, you can be miserable in exotic locations when you have a little bit of money or freedom. It's a trick to getting both, isn't it? When one has lots of money, one has no freedom. When one has lots of freedom, one has no money. I have a little bit of money when I come to planet Earth by doing some rather organic, bespoke, boutique shows, you might say. Oh, right, I'm just going to plug this in. The smellometer. Can you smell the ozone? It's a beautiful. If you cannot smell it, just press download on the app saying fresh air facility. Fresh fish. A member of staff who currently is on security rides a bike. That's why it's chained to the outside bar. Take me away. Lifeboats, lifeboats. Let's sing to ladies without them knowing. Oh, dear ladies, good morning to you. Oh, good ladies, good morning to you. And now let's not leave out other natural forms of life. Seagulls, it's like being hated. I'm here at your service. I waited so long to sing to you. I've gone into some strange, operatic, deep baritone. Seagulls. And now as I sing, they do call me the Seagull Whisperer. I keep telling them, do not keep diving for people's fish and chips. It's rude, it's insolent, and I find it quite arrogant. Why do transport facilities always use words that define a sense of dying? To fly from Terminal 12 to arrive at Terminus 2. Is it some strange nod, some subconscious, subliminal reaction we feel about dying? Here I am, off on holiday. You leave by Terminal 9. And then, of course, when on the plane...
The engine's running away, Captain.
In the highly unlikely event... Oh, there we go. We've been left to die here. And the ladies who I've just been singing to... Now, often, young joyriders do this. Or boys that think they can say things rudely out of a window, realising that they can accelerate and not be caught by their victims. Look at me. I thought I was going to get away from the ladies I was singing to, but they have now arrived.
Look, if the train's quick, we'll be all right.
Dear driver!
Come back! We apologise. Right.
We might form a band, like Peter, Paul, Mary +1.
What, you getting rid of your car chef for already?
Oh, yes, well, of course. The sea that can be sat on. A nautical version. The one on which one's bottom can be temporarily placed. The sea that can be sat on. Albeit with a touch of featherlight grace. The baby you can cuddle, the lips you cannot kiss, the muddiest of models. It seems what we resist persists. Hello! It seems what we resist. Thank you for your applause, sir. Have a blessed, beautiful day.
Good singer, Mike.
Thank you. What's your name?
Richard.
Richard, oh Richard. May your day be blessed and bright. And even the driver's agreeing, and that horn says that I'm right. Richard! Goodbye. It's a lovely way to greet people, isn't it? I'm here aboard a large boat. I do like boats. And I do believe that the sign that brought me in, coercing me, is this one here. Ernie Oxo's Wonders of the Deep. He is here today, but there's no time. But I like the fact that I don't believe in certain time. There's a space and time for everything. Just shouldn't be preordained. I've been told to sing a little bit, so that gentleman requested it. And when one sees a gentleman in yellow asking something of one on a boat, then one agrees. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, oh oh, la 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 la. Hello, ladies. La 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 la, la and gentlemen. La la la, oh oh. You can sing if you want. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, oh oh, la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. Dr. Ezekiel Ashvin Schlipschli, Porrelfontaine, wore poppy red lips and a great charcoal complexion. But the Snow Queen appeared, should you ever mispronounce her name. Her gargantuan mind, she concluded, that I doth possess no boundaries found in this orgy of strangeness, decadent thoughts that wildly digress, and it's like Berlin, la 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 la, la 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 la, between the wars it's like Berlin, la 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 la, la la. Just a little bit of bird song for you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Right.
I believe we've discovered a mermaid on land, but she doesn't wish to be filmed. She has glorious hair like the golden sun, embers of light permeating from her brow through to her digestive tract. Not that I've seen, but she seems to emanate such a flavour. So I'm going to sing this one for her. What's her name? Sally Ann.
Sally Ann.
Oh, Sally Ann. Oh, that's a very, very pertinent name. I know a very, very special Sally Ann. So 2 special Sally Anns in my life. Here we go. This one's for Sally Ann, the mermaid we discovered on dry land. Listen, you might hear the siren. Sally Ann. The seed that can be sat on, the one on which one's bottom can be temporarily placed, the seed that can be sat on, albeit with a touch of feather-like grace, the baby you can cuddle, the lips you cannot kiss, the muddiest of muddles. It seems what we resist persists. It seems what we receive. La ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba 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 da ba da ba la do. La ba ba da ba la ba ba da ba la ba ba da ba da ba la bo. Sally Ann, Sally Ann, Sally Ann, I've been singing to you. Can you hear? Sally Ann, Sally Ann, Sally Ann, the camera shall not come that way, so please don't fear. To the mermaid on dry land, Sally Ann, and the seat that can't be sat on. The seat that can be sat on, the one on which one's bottom can be temporarily placed, the seat that can be sat on, just slightly changing it, albeit with a touch of feather-like grace, the baby you can cuddle, the lips that you can kiss, the muddiest of muddles. It seems what we resist persists. It seems what we resist. I'm going up, but I'm not going down at the same time. I'm going up. Am I in the Alps? No, I believe this is the world tour of Hastings. Suddenly I feel like I'm in an Alfred Hitchcock movie. You go anywhere near the edge of that door, I'm gonna push you over. Oh, please. Please, Mr. Triller. Why do you speak so poorly towards me? What have I ever done to you? Your father robbed me of my land. He took everything. By thinking you can play some fancy little song on the ukulele? Nah, your life ain't worth as much as that. Ah, Mr. Triller, Mr. Triller! An old relative, it appears. This seat is named after Mad John. 1945 to 2009. Often people that call you mad are often the most insane themselves. Because to think that you're sane and exist within such a society which makes one insane would define the very idea of what sanity is. So those that are called mad might be the most sanest of all. And Mad John, what a man he was. Not really mad at all. Possibly the most sanest person you might ever meet. For only when one loses boundaries does one understand the true reality of life. It's neither defined by objection or opinion. Reality doesn't need you to believe in it for it to exist. It's only the thoughts inside of your head that you procure as being some kind of truth. And chances are they aren't anything else but illusory. It's at times like this I wish I had a hang glider. Like safe sex, this is safe hang gliding, meaning that I shall not protrude from the edge of one's cliff. Not the singer, just the edge of this orifice. La 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 la, la 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 la, oh oh, la 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 la, la 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 la, la. Ooh, we're going down. Suddenly I feel like I'm on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Grandad, Grandad. Dr. Ziegel, Ashvin, Schlipschli, Porrel Fontaine, more poppy red lips, and a grey charcoal complexion. But the Snow Queen appeared. I'm gonna get to the chorus. Quick. It's like Berlin, la 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 la, la 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 la, between the walls, Berlin, la 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 la.
The lift has landed.
You are now allowed to descend.
Short trousers or long?
Short trousers.
Okay.
Do you want the long answer or the short one?
I think you just give me both.
I think knees should always be allowed to be freed whenever they can, because we don't get much opportunity in the British climate. However, look at the summer we've just had. My knees have had a ball.
Yes, mine too. What is an eccentric?
He that doesn't believe that he is one. Once somebody defines himself as mad or eccentric, they're probably not.
No. Do you know an eccentric?
Most of my family.
Okay.
My grandmother, my grandfather. Yes, and animals that have been around people too long often become eccentric as well. Human behaviour is quite contagious in its neurosis. Chasing one's tail.
I was reading about an eccentric this morning, and he hated flowers, and he used to go around with a stick, and if he saw a flower he'd bash it to bits.
Goodness me.
I know, it was a while back in the Lake District.
Maybe he was a bunch of petunias in a previous life.
Are you a pessimist or an optimist?
I like the fact that optimism or pessimism, same outcome, but if one's optimistic you have a better time getting there. However, the beauty about pessimism is that one can always be pleasantly surprised. So I'm a little bit of a balance of both.
What percentage would you say you were?
I think I'm straight 50-50, because I think we live in this new age climate now where everyone believes that if we have one positive thought and retain it all day, every second of every minute, therefore great things will happen. I call it the law of attraction. I think there is a law of attraction, but I think the way it's been fed to us has sadly left out a lot of details.
Marmite?
Why, of course, with tomatoes.
Oh.
On toast.
Okay, never tried that.
Oh, it's good. Just a slight slither once the tomatoes are grilled, and even add a touch of oregano or fresh basil. That is good.
I can see the Captain's Cookery programme's going to be next.
Oh, I've been cooking all my life. In fact, as a young child coming from the planet Hixleyvoom, when I sat with my earthly grandmother, she'd often say at 6 years old, what would you like to do? Go out and mend things with your grandfather of the electrical nature, more of the paternal, logistical, male-orientated tasks, or would you like to bake with me? Bake every time. These fingers Oh, I've thrown some pastry around in my time, and flour, over myself sometimes.
Yes, well, some of that we don't need to know about.
Well, you might need to, but that could be an 18+ rating.
Yes. My gran, funnily enough, she... I was declared not fit to bake because apparently my hands were too warm. I know.
That's me.
And apparently that's not... She used to make the most delicious melt-in-your-mouth donuts, my gran.
Oh, and
I'm sorry, I cook, but baking is beyond me.
You see, but I think one should work with their own limited disabilities, for want of a better word.
Crumble's okay.
Crumble's okay. Well, you don't need to crumble. It's okay. The point I'm saying is, there was a young lady recently I met that was told she couldn't be a pianist. She's announced this at 24 because her music teacher told her hands were far too short and fat. And the first thing I thought was, Elton John. A marvellous pianist with short, stubby hands. Incredible pianist. That's pianist. I said
Yes.
pianist.
Tea or coffee?
Tea every day of the week. In fact, I've never been a big drinker or drug user. The only thing people just think I am. One gentleman described me as a minstrel on mushrooms. I've never done either. The odd beer, the odd glass of wine, great. If tea had been an alcoholic beverage, I'd have probably been on many a pub crawl by now. I used to often say that if tea was the order of the day, Assam, Lapsang Souchong, Russian Caravan, Darjeelings, loose leaves. It is the elixir. My body knows that if it was an alcoholic drink, then I would have been worse for the wear most of my life. Most of my life, I believe.
Good tea is hard to find.
Some of us will be falling at beaches and some of us go at the chair. Some of us just because we don't want to be there. 40 yards it seems from the winning post, some jump high into the sky. It was said, yeah, they carried that Devonlock look in their eyes. When up close, they neither craved the fame nor the money, but failing so gloriously, reveals a new paradise. And some things in life are still worth getting excited about. La 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 la. Ooh, yeah, me, In a traffic of bodies, a mighty pile-up occurs. Oh, and then out of the clearing, 'tis only you that's emerged. The highly unfancied, the one that nobody claimed. The most likely, they said at school, to break a leg or end up the most outside of outsiders, with 100-to-1 shot. Tipperary Tim is our name, and some things in life are still worth, they are, getting excited about. La 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 la. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. In the national of life, we're all runners and riders, and some of us the most outside of outsiders. We're waiting, we're still chasing. In the national of life, we're all runners and riders, and some of us the most outside of outsiders. We're waiting, we're still chasing. And glory is fleeting, from obscurity is forever. They can't be divided, it's a photo finish, they're neck and neck. In the national of life, we're all runners and riders, some of us the most outside of outsiders. We're waiting, we're still cheating.